Okay, so that was pretty easy. So I have my 3080 from my 3060. Here we are back in PC. Just to let you know, we're running everything as I did with the 3080. Triple screen. The drivers I haven't updated for NVIDIA yet. We're still running the 5.16.94. There is a newer one out. I'm not going to really test the startup of the sim because it's all the same, because the processor hasn't been changed or anything. So go into the sim and pick the helicopter, same one. We're at Essendon. Put it at runway 17. We'll do a quick test around Essendon and see is there any major difference in FPS for a 3060 compared to a 3080. Just as I said, this is a clean install of Microsoft Office, of Microsoft Flight Sim. I've got nothing in the community folder. It's completely clean. I've got nothing in the community folder there. Sitting at the end of the runway in Essendon. FPS is up at 60 FPS. Pretty much the same as the 1380. My graphics settings are set the same. We're on DLSS. I've left them all set the same, Ultra. Let's just take a quick look if we switch it over to TAA. TAA is not an improvement, it's actually losing frames per second. Yeah, it's worse. TAA is worse on the 3060 anyway. So forget that. We're not using that one. Back in. Switch it back to DLSS performance. I'm not going to change anything else. I'm not going to start. Says he changing that. Let's go back. Take 2. We're not going to change anything else except for DLSS. Everything else can stay the same. Quick rotate around here. Smooth as, no problems. I can see it jumping between 50 and 58, but okay. Let's turn on some ATC in the back. That's just live ATC. You can get it online and listen to it. It's from Melbourne Airport.
Window 178, roger, expect runway 16 from intersection Charlie, clear to Denver via Kemper planned route.
So let's just jump into the drone and take a quick trip around the airport. We're on runway 17. Let's turn that down a bit.
Window 178, it's a Kangaroo 1 departure, Kilo Alpha Golf Mike Uniform 1.
Let's take a quick trip around the airport here. See, no No stutters, no stammers, silky smooth
Thank you. What gate are you on?
in the 50 FPS.
Window 178, when ready for
Over
pushback, contact
DFO
ground
here.
1
Yeah. Pretty much, it seems to be the same performance as the 3080. So for the money, we're not getting any more FPS. Unless I start tweaking settings on the 3080, but I don't want to start. I just want to plug in the 3080 and have it work. I'm sick of watching hours, being an idiot watching hours of tweak this, tweak that, turn this up, turn that bloody thing down. Oh, you've got a half FPS more there. What the hell, man? I'm sick of chasing FPS. I'm actually just want the sim to be smooth. And I don't care if it's running on 10 FPS and it's smooth. Says he testing the FPS on a 3060, but I'm just doing this to help anybody out there that doesn't spend stupid money on a graphics card when they don't need to. We'll do is we'll jump back in the helicopter and we'll take a quick spin into Melbourne CBD and see is it the same. I'm sure it's going to be the same FPS. Okay, my helicopter skills are not the best, so let's get it off the ground here. It seems to be very quick. Let's just go left here. Straighten up a bit. Let's head out over the airport. Sim is smooth. Running the 50s FPS. I think I might actually stop on about FPS and just start on about how the sim feels smooth. Feels absolutely no pauses, stammers, stutters, nothing. I'm beginning to wish that I had upgraded my CPU and memory and motherboard before I upgraded my GPU. But back when I had my i5 9500 and my DDR4 memory, my older memory and my older motherboard, I was getting a lot less FPS, a lot less smoother sim. And of course I thought, okay, let's whack in a 3080 instead of a 3060. I'm sure that's, don't get me wrong, it did improve. The 3080 did improve the sim smoothness of it, but that was still running my old i5 8th gen processor. Then again, back then I didn't have the option of going for 13 gen because it wasn't out then. But anybody now that's running older processor, 10th gen, 11th, 12th, and you're wondering, okay, I've got a 3060, is it worth upgrading the GPU to a 3080, or is it worth me spending the money on memory and new motherboard and new CPU? I would think that you're possibly better off going with the CPU and the memory route rather than the GPU from a 3060 to a 3080. I can't speak for 4090 because I'm not rich enough to be buying 4090s and do comparison on those. I did see on some YouTuber they're saying they're getting 80, but in all honesty, we're in a crazy race for frames per second. Every YouTuber I see, every streamer I see is trying to go, oh, I've tweaked this and I've tweaked that and I've got like half a frame per second, and really? It's not the frames per second, is the sim running smooth for you on, and is it looking good? Which I think you'll agree this looks pretty good. I think we should be concentrating more. Is the sim running smooth? Is it looking nice? Ignore the frames per second. I don't care if it's running on 10 frames per second. If it's running smooth and it's looking nice and you're enjoying it, isn't that the whole point? Okay, some of you will say, well, yeah, but aren't you doing a test for frames per second? I'm doing a test between a 3060 and a 3090 to see whether it's worth the money to upgrade from one to the other. Right now, I don't think it is. Even though that's exactly what I done when I had the older processor. I'm thinking that combination of the GPU and the CPU is what you want to get. If you have the money, whatever bit of money you've got, I'm thinking that the CPU and the memory and the motherboard are a lot better investment to get a better, smoother sim than going with the graphics card. I think you'll agree this looks silky smooth and beautiful right now. What I will do is I'll put in the Melbourne, the Orbix Melbourne update and the Essendon Orbix Essendon update. Do a test flight around as well. See what's the drop in FPS, and is it worth the trade-off or drop in FPS for the higher detail you're going to get. This is the standard install, so as you can see, you're seeing all the just the default Microsoft Flight Sim buildings and ships and everything in here in the docks. We're getting the old World War II type buildings. They're all bombed out. Same here with the docks and the cranes. We're getting the effects that's like 100 years after people have left. That's the effect we're getting. We're getting all the moss and everything growing over everything. Performance is the same, is silky smooth. helicopter flying is crap. Don't install it again, Alan. Oh man. I need to practice my helicopter flying. But yes, the graphics can be improved with the Orbix update. See how many frames per second that impacts. But with the World update, Australian World update, this is what you're getting in Melbourne CBD. They'll fly up the Yarra here, up past the Crown and up past the Convention Centre here. Coming up there, we have a few boats in the marina. Coming up past the Convention Centre on the right there. Got the Hollywood side ship. Around the corner, up around the Yarra, across the up past Casino, Crown Casino. Coming up on Flinders Street Station here. I can see the FPS is dropped, but smooth is still smooth. I haven't noticed the drop. I can see it up there on the right, but I haven't noticed it. Still getting silky smooth. Come around the corner over tennis courts where they do the Australian Open. Just come around by the G here, Melbourne Cricket Ground. You can see there, smooth as, city in the background. Just take a final look around the CBD. Turn off the cathedral. We'll head out, back out. Just head through the CBD again to see if we can what it'll do with, but as far as I can see so far, it's running smooth as. There, the buildings look like they're burnt out. So yeah. So first test with 3060. We're getting silky smooth sim in with the ultra settings. I guess what this is proving is if you're on the fence to upgrade your system and thinking, do I upgrade the GPU or from a 3060 to a 3080, or do I upgrade my CPU, memory and motherboard? I would say if you're on the low 8 gen, 9, 10 gen, upgrade your CPU and your memory. CPU at least to 13th gen, I think, is a better investment than going from a 3060 to a 3080. If if at the time when I had my 3060 and my i5 9500, I would have possibly gone for a 13th gen, kept the 3060, saved some money, got the same results. I think it's time for us to go back to Essendon and try and land there. But you can see the detail, you can see the smoothness of it. See, everything is perfectly clear there. You can see everything on the gauges. See all the switches in the top. Like everybody else, I was paranoid and getting more FPS. I gotta get more FPS. As I go along, I think, why do I need more FPS? Sim is running fine. It's running smooth as. Graphics are brilliant. Now comes the problem of me to try and land a helicopter, which I need a lot more practice doing. And we're just going to put it down wherever we can put it down. I need a lot more practice of this. Bring it into a hover, sort of. We're going to put it down wherever we can. Again, I think I overdo it as always. I'm sure it's a lot easier way to land this, and as I get used to it, it'll probably get a lot better with it, but let's just put it down for now. It's gonna be a hard one. Yeah. Okay. Try not bouncing the helicopter everywhere. Anyway, not the best landing at all. But in my first conclusion of flying around Essendon and the CBD, Melbourne, I'm thinking that your best option, if you're asking, do I go from a 3060 to a 3080 or do I do the CPU and the memory and motherboard, I'd go the CPU, memory and motherboard way and keep your 3060. Unless you get a very, very good deal on a 3080. But what I will do is I'll load in Orbix. Load in, what do I think? I'm loading Orbix Melbourne update and the Orbix Essendon update and see what hit that has, or if it has any shutters or pauses or anything on the sim. But for now, upgrade your CPU and your memory more than your GPU, unless it's a big massive one upgrade from a 3060 to a 4090, but unfortunately I don't have the money to go to a 4090, and I don't, a lot of people do. I think I might wait for 5090 or older. Okay, so anyway, we'll catch you on the next test and see what that does. Catch you later.